Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me today is Dr. Lana Feng. Did I say it right? Did I get it right?
Wow, that's impressive, Jared. You're one of the few people who actually pronounce it correctly. Most people just pronounce it fan. It's funny.
It's almost like we didn't just talk about this right before the call, right? That I get it exactly. I'm really excited to have you here today. Um, you are the co-founder and CEO at Huma.Ai. We're ecstatic to have you on. Let's dive right into it. If you could tell the audience a little bit about your background, I know they'd love to hear more.
Great. So I'm a life science expert leading an AI company. So go figure that. So my experience is very much, PhD and really thinking about how can we kind of save lives at scale. And of course, developing drugs, developing life-saving, drugs or device or diagnostics. So dive into life sciences and spend over 20 years in precision medicine and meaning, giving the right drug to the right patient at the right time. So very much a pioneer in developing companion diagnostics for targeted cancer therapeutics. And I was hired by an oncology company called Genoptics to build a pharma business. So grew that from zero to $45 million in less than 5 years. And Genoptics was ended up being acquired by Novartis. So that's kind of my journey, if you will, into global pharma, really kind of the genesis of Huma.Ai is that it's really, really difficult for subject matter experts like myself to get answers out of data. We know what questions to ask. We know what the data, but we don't know how to write codes. We don't know how to write SQL queries. So there's that gap, right? It takes like weeks to get a single answer. Could we use technologies, particularly AI technology like natural language processing, to be able to kind of transform that experience of interrogating complex life sciences healthcare data into more of a question and answer. So, now with the ChatGPT taking over the world, so we don't really need to educate customers anymore. But it's a kind of a long journey that and how we get here. So we're the first generative AI platform for life sciences.
Now, you thank you for the intro, by the way, and for telling us about the company. Can you tell us a little bit about where the company is at today? What's really exciting you about what you're building?
Great. So we're a venture-backed company. So post-Series A, so we're revenue stage. We have quite a bit of customers. So we started out as like I said, a natural language processing platform for life sciences, right? Being able to make the interrogating complex data as easy as asking a question to get answer. And then on the back end, we analyze like millions of documents, is also across different data sources. So, use cases, clinical development, for example, medical affairs, real world evidence, post-market surveillance, as long as there's unstructured data that you have to work with. So that's where we're at. And then the generative AI piece is really in the making for about a year. So because we're leading NLP technology for life sciences in that vertical, so we've been working with OpenAI for almost a year, right? So think about generative AI is very much that magic dust on top of the platform we've already built. So really the technology was ready and then the customer was ready. And then we're just like really at the right place at the right time. So I'm really happy that we'll be able to take advantage of that. I mean, as you know, ChatGPT is probably the most rapidly adopted AI technology in our lifetime, right? Maybe the biggest tech story in our lifetime. So we're very excited to be part of that wave.
Yeah, I was talking with someone the other day about it, and just in terms of technologies that like the whole population, right, is like aware of and is trying out. Um, you could run into anyone on the street that's not even into tech, and chances are they're going to know what Chat GPT is, right? So
Yeah,
that's kind of a wild effect that's happened over the last couple months. It's just fun to use too, to like just to see like
yeah,
what is it going
totally.
to say. So the
Right.
fact that you're leveraging OpenAI's generative technology, and I'm so glad that you mentioned it too, like the hot topic of ChatGPT on this. That's super interesting. What I wanted to really dig in with you here today too is whenever we have someone on, we also go into what could the future look like, right? In this space through your lens. You're a thought leader. What do you see in this space? What do you see the future of clinical trials looking like?
Great. So there's the what the future looks like and what the clinical trial looks like in the future. Those are two very separate topics, right? What the future looks like, I think it's really difficult to predict. I think buckle up for a wild, exciting ride, right? So I'm seeing the large language models, and this is just on the natural language side, right? It's very much that raw power that we're kind of really just begin to tap into this. I think it's very the tip of the iceberg. I think it's going to be bigger than cloud. It's going to be bigger than internet, and there's other kind of aspects of generative AI that we can tap into, right? And then you can hear there's a lot of like controversy as well, right? People fear of the unknown. What is AI just gonna look like? Is it gonna replace human? Is AI going to be become sentient? So there's a lot of ethical questions as well. So very much we need guardrails, right, to make sure like we're doing AI for good. So this is kind of where we come in. So we leverage those. So we don't create large language models, right, like the big tech companies with billions of dollars in funding. So we take those large language model and then basically specifically train them for verticals like life sciences. So we very much trying to use that for good, right? Clinical development is a great example. As you know, clinical development is $2.6 billion in 10 years to bring a life drug to market. So clinical development is the main point of bottleneck, if you will. So it's becoming more and more complex, right? You think about clinical trial, you have trial design, clinical operations, you have patient recruitment. You also now throw in diversity and particularly decentralized trials. I think it's a big piece, right? How do we bring clinical trials to patient footsteps, to their homes, to kind of lower the hurdle? And same with diversity. I think from a generative AI perspective, I can talk about what we can kind of facilitate clinical development, right? Is being able to kind of like interrogate all that unstructured data in terms of trial design, right? Patient selection criteria, what are the end goals for running a clinical trial, and how to get patients be able to leverage those cutting edge generative AI technology to maybe dive deeper, surfacing unknown intelligence to guide you to design better trials, maybe running it completed faster, or maybe enrolling more patients. Those are all successful criteria for trials. That's how we can accelerate bringing life-saving drugs to market faster.
And what continues to excite you? What can you tell us in terms of what's next for your company?
Oh my gosh! Since we announced the launch the generative AI platform, so it wasn't like we're ready to do this, right? The platform actually has been deployed and has been independently validated by our clients. So it's already being used by our clients. So it's not something new we're building. So it's really, I'm seeing this is just the beginning of a long journey, and it's going to be very exciting ride. It's like, we're ready to basically change the entire platform into a more of a chat experience. And that basically open up the entire kind of user interface, user experience, like being able to interrogate complex data. And then of course, displaying graphs and tables, right? Beyond text. Yeah, we're very, very excited about what's coming. And then just the response from the industry just has been overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, our phones ringing off the hook. A virtual phone. No one calls anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that's awesome. I'm so happy for you and the team and what you're continuing to build and release. And I'm glad we're able to get you too at this point, right? Because now we can have you come on throughout the journey and people can kind of tune in to hear, where you're at. So would love to have you, maybe on a panel sometime with some other people in your space. And we can dive more into this. We can get a couple life science companies on. I think would be a ton of fun. But
I'd
yeah,
love that.
tell us where everyone can learn a little bit more about you in the company.
Go to our website, of course, http Huma.Ai. And then there's a lot of information about us. And also I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me and follow me. We're quite active there. So we post new things there that sometimes we don't necessarily put all of them on the website. So LinkedIn is definitely a great platform to connect with me and let's chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast here today. Look forward to continuing to follow your journey in this space and wish you and the team all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Look forward to more conversations, Jared.